This is about cumulative advantage, the hidden power of cumulative advantage. That's what I want to talk to you guys tonight on episode 81 of Index Card Insights. Man, I hope you guys are doing amazing on this fine Tuesday evening. It is that time. It is about that time for another episode of Index Card Insights. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, you guys. And tonight we are talking about cumulative advantage. Now, if you don't know what that is, don't worry, just stick with me. I'll explain it to you. And if you do know what that is, hey, stick around. You might learn something new. Before I get any further in tonight's episode, though, I just want to remind everybody, get over to epicconversions.com, right? Got a brand new freebie over there. It's called Hungry Like the Wolf, right? It's basically me interviewing, four of my good friends, and actually I get in some talk in there myself as well. We're talking about AI, we're talking about list building, and we're talking about email marketing. Be sure to get over there and check it out. All right, all free, all over that epicconversions.com for you. All right, tonight let's get into cumulative advantage. All right, what is it? What's it about? What am I talking about? Well, look, basically, cumulative advantage is like this advantage built as customers become more and more comfortable using your product, right? But look, that's like a baseline dictionary definition. For me to really explain to you what it is, we got to go look at its twin brother, which you're probably a little more familiar with, competitive advantage, right? We kind of know what that is, but that's basically talking about the strategies and actions that businesses take to stand out from their competitors, right? So like when Uber came out with this whole app where like they weren't gonna hire taxi cab drivers anymore. They were gonna contract taxi cab drivers, and they're gonna have an app for people to you know get rides. This is like it built competitive advantage for them, right? Um, so we're pretty familiar with competitive advantage, and I can give you lots of examples of competitive advantage, and I'll probably give you some more tonight. But the thing about competitive advantage is it's hard to get, right? That's the first thing. Competitive advantage is hard to get. It's hard to come up with a way to be competitive in your marketplace and to differentiate yourself in your marketplace. When we look at the information marketing space, for example, how do you gain competitive advantage in a space that is very saturated with other people trying to do the same thing that you're trying to do, especially if we narrow down the information marketing space to internet marketing? And if we narrow that down even further to make money online, there's a lot of people in that sub niche of MMO. So like here we are, we're sub down, we're in the information marketing space, but we're also, we've narrowed it down to internet marketing. We've narrowed that down to like biz op, right? Make money online, business opportunity. But even still, that narrowed down, there's still a ton of people out there talking about that, right? So how do you get competitive advantage, right? Well, this podcast isn't really about competitive advantage, but the point is it's difficult, right? You have to find a way to differentiate yourself. For example, I was in the internet marketing space and I was in the information marketing space, and I saw competitive advantage in several different ways. But I won't get into them tonight. Maybe we'll talk about competitive advantage in another podcast. The point is, though, it's really hard to get competitive advantage. You got to think of a good idea, but you know what's crazy? Not only is it hard to get competitive advantage, it's even harder to keep competitive advantage, right? It's even harder to keep it. You know why? It's harder to keep it because once people see that you're doing something a little bit different than them and you're gaining a competitive advantage, what they do is they copy you, right? And they say, oh, they're doing that. They're moving in that direction. Oh, well, we should move in that direction. And not only that, how can we do it better than them? Right? That's what people think. And that's why they say it's competitive to begin with, because they're going to do the same thing that you did. You sought some kind of competitive advantage. They're going to follow behind you and seek a competitive advantage over you. So this is the world of competitive advantage, right? And that is a tough world, right? It doesn't mean you shouldn't seek competitive advantage, but it does mean that it's difficult to get, and it's very, very difficult, even harder to hold on to. But that brings us to competitive advantage's twin brother, right? And that is cumulative advantage, right? So what is cumulative advantage? Because I gave you the definition. It's advantage built as customers become more and more comfortable using your product. But what is that actually? Right? So like let me give you a better understanding of what cumulative advantage is, and to do it, we need to get to our first insight. We see this cumulative advantage is the advantage built, right? What does that mean? The advantage built. Cumulative advantage, it's like building layers of advantage on top of an initial advantage that a company might have, right? Or that your business might have. It basically means your product or service increasingly appeals and becomes familiar to customers over time, right? Like Tide laundry detergent, right? They become familiar with it. You ever shop at a grocery store and you kind of just go to the same grocery store over and over again? Um, and like that's just your grocery store. That's where you go. A lot of people think about going to the grocery store to buy products, but most people don't think about the grocery store itself as a product. But honestly, the grocery store itself is a product. And it's a product that you get used to. You get used to the environment. You get used to the kinds of people who shop at that grocery store. You get used to the music they play overhead. And you know what you really get? You get used to where they put stuff. That's the big one right there. You get used to the prices. The whole thing kind of comes together to form this package, right? And you get used to that package. And that package that you get used to going to that grocery store over and over again, that builds a cumulative advantage for that grocery store. Now, the thing about it is, you ever hear someone getting really mad because they move things at the grocery store? They move stuff like the cereal. It's in aisle 8 for like 2 years. Now all of a sudden it's in aisle like 3, and it's like, what just happened? Why are you guys moving everything? People don't like it, right? They don't like it. They don't like things moved around. We're going to get into that later, but just keep that in mind. People don't like it when you start moving stuff around. But the point is, the grocery store builds cumulative advantage. That's kind of like how our brain works. Our brains like things to be easy and familiar, right? Now, our brains like new stuff. Don't get me wrong. We love new stuff. We do. We love new stuff, but we also like things familiar. We don't like change that much. It's kind of a conundrum. It's kind of a paradox, to be honest. We love new stuff. We're excited by new stuff, but we don't like new stuff forced upon us, right? We like things to be familiar. So when we have like a past experience with a product or service, right, our brains automatically draws on that experience to fill in any gaps in our decision making process, right? So these automatic thoughts, right? These opinions, these preferences, they make it easy for us to make quick decisions without much reflection, right? If you buy the same kind of milk every week at the grocery store, like you don't think much about it. Like you're out of milk, you go to the store, you get the same kind of milk you always get. Same packaging, same milk, same everything, right? You just always get it. It's automatic. Eggs, usually you get the same brand of eggs every time. Cereal, you buy the same cereal you always buy, right? That's how our brain works. Not everything, but a lot of things. We like to be easy. We like it to be familiar. We like it to be comfortable. Like me, I keep on buying New Balances. I've been buying New Balances for years. I just keep on buying the same shoe brand. Nothing else feels right to me. It just has to be New Balance. I don't know what it is. Cumulative advantage. Tide. I mentioned that before. Some people only buy Tide. They don't buy any other kind of detergent but Tide. Cumulative advantage. Let me give you another example, though, of this cumulative advantage. This is a really good example, and I think you're going to really relate to this one. Okay. Do you remember Periscope? Now, a lot of you might not. A lot of you might not remember Periscope, but some of you may. Periscope If you don't remember, some of you probably do remember, but if you don't remember, Periscope was actually one of the first companies to offer live streaming a few years back. Like no one had seen this before. Now it feels like second hat. People are used to live streaming now, but back then, man, it was a new thing. People had never seen anything like this before. This was a new deal, right? And it was Periscope. There was another company too. I think it was called Meerkat. Was the other company, but I remember a lot of people were on Periscope, and people loved it, right? No one had ever dealt with this live streaming video before. They thought it was really cool, and everyone was hanging out on Periscope until Facebook and YouTube hustled. And I think like the same year, I think it was almost the same year or the very next year, Facebook and YouTube hustled hard to get their own versions of live streaming out, right? And when Facebook and YouTube got their own versions of live streaming out, I tell you what, it was like Periscope just died overnight. I mean, I've never seen a death that quick and that sudden, except maybe MySpace. It seemed, back in the day, it seemed like MySpace just died they went from being really popular to dead, like overnight. And it was from MySpace to Facebook overnight. It was the same thing with Periscope. As soon as YouTube and Facebook released their versions of streaming, Periscope was like dead overnight. It was crazy. Now, a lot of people would say that was cumulative advantage at work. Now, what do I mean by that? Why was that cumulative advantage? Well, the reason that was cumulative advantage is because people were already used to using YouTube. They were already used to using Facebook. They used it for other things. They used YouTube for entertainment and for education, and they used Facebook for interacting with their friends. So now all of a sudden, there's live streaming on those platforms too. Well, hey, there's no reason to go to Periscope anymore. I was only going there for the live streaming. That was the only place that was doing live streaming. Now they're doing live streaming over here where I'm already comfortable and used to. It's almost like if you're used to going to one grocery store and all of a sudden this other grocery store starts offering a product that you really love and your grocery store doesn't offer it. So you have to drive across town to go to that other grocery store to get that one item that you love, right? But as soon as your grocery store starts offering that item, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to stop going because you like going to your grocery store. It has cumulative advantage. Okay. So that brings me to insight number 2. All right. So when we talk about insight number 2, talking about rebranding and big pivots destroy cumulative advantage. All right. And I bring this up because a lot of businesses out there right now like to rebrand. They're always looking to rebrand. I remember like Instagram used to have this logo of this like little camera. It was an old school, old fashioned camera. Everybody knew that little camera with the little rainbow on it was Instagram. Everybody knew what that was. Then they rebranded to something different. I thought it was like a terrible kind of decision. But they did. You could argue whether that worked, whether it didn't work, whatever. But what it did do was it kind of destroyed this cumulative advantage. Big pivots and rebranding destroy cumulative advantage. All right. Another example would be, another example would be in my business. I used to do Epic Conversions used to sell information products. Digital publishing company selling information products, right? Sometimes it would be video courses. Sometimes it would be special reports. Sometimes it would be cheat sheets. Sometimes it would be the audio trainings. Sometimes it would be this. Sometimes it would be that. But it would always be training on internet marketing, and it would always be new and interesting kind of secrets revealed in that training. Okay, so that was kind of like the common thread. But in 2021, 2022, I can't remember. I think it was last year in 2000, at the beginning of last year in 2022, Epic Conversions had a pivot, and I pivoted to the PLR space. This was a big pivot, and I was worried about destroying some kind of cumulative advantage. It's a pretty big pivot, to go from like information products where you're kind of in the secrets business. You're kind of revealing hidden and interesting information that's not widely known, to move to a space where a lot of the information is kind of vanilla and it is widely known, but people are buying content. It's kind of a big pivot, and I was worried about cumulative advantage. The way that I got around that was I didn't really rebrand. I kept my logos and everything the same for Epic Conversions. And even though I started offering PLR, and even though I started offering primarily newsletters, this one kind of product, um, I still maintained um, this kind of like ideology that I wanted my products to have kind of like hidden information in them, secrets, if you will. I wanted them to have kind of like eureka moments in them. I wanted people to read my newsletters and find interesting things in there that they didn't know. And that was really that was my mission with my other products, for people to get something out of them, to find something useful in there that they didn't already know. So that was really the core of Epic Conversions before. So even though I kind of pivoted to PLR, I still tried to maintain that core of giving people eureka moments in the products themselves. But it was a pivot. It was a big pivot, and I want you to know that I did take strategy to try to not make it too big of a pivot. Okay, so that's kind of some examples of how, you know, big pivots and changing your brand, like just rebranding, can really it can really like deteriorate and destroy this idea of cumulative advantage. um Big Rake and Profit in the house. My man, Rake and Profit, what's up, man? I love your YouTube channel, dude. If you guys don't know about Rake and Profit, I'm sure most of you guys do, but if you don't know about Rake and Profit, be sure to get over and check out his YouTube channel. It's absolutely amazing. He's been doing it for years and it's awesome. So check him out. Very, very cool. Bonafide hustler, bonafide superstar in the house. That's awesome. So anyways, yeah, so cumulative advantage, guys. And the third insight I'll give you, I got one more insight for you tonight. All right. So old and tired versus visual cues. All right. Old and tired versus visual cues. What the heck am I talking about? So the thing is, I talk about cumulative advantage, and it makes you feel like you're just supposed to keep things the same all the time, right? You know, that's not true, okay? But it does mean that people do like an element of sameness to what you're selling. I'll give you an example right now. Right now, I've been selling newsletters with PLR rights since the beginning of 2022, and it's been working out pretty well for me. However, the market's changing. You know, AI is fresh on the scene. In November of last year, ChatGPT hit, and it got people really thinking, dude, I don't know if I need to buy PLR newsletters anymore. I think I can just have ChatGPT do them for me, right? Now I know, because I've worked a lot with ChatGPT, I know that that's not really going to be able to do the same thing that I do, you know. But it doesn't really matter what I know, because the perception is there. So when you have a perception like that, in the marketplace, and you know there's a perception like that in the marketplace, no matter what the facts are. Now the facts are, I've been writing for a long time, and I know how to write really good on the subject of internet marketing. ChatGPT can't really compete with me, but it will be able to compete with me because of perception, right? So what does that mean? That means that I have to change. Like, I have to kind of change what I offer. I have to keep my stuff fresh. I have to keep it fresh in a way that's competitive with my AI competitors. Um, but when we talk about this idea of old and tired versus visual cues, what I mean is, even though I have to pivot, even though I have to change a little bit, I don't want to really change from newsletters. I still want people to see me as a quality source for newsletters, but I want to add to that package. I want to add to that package in a way that makes it more unique, something they can't just get from like AI, right? So in this way, I'm going to change a little bit of what I offer, but I want the visual cues to remain. So what I'm saying is, you can still change your product a little bit. You can make your product better. You can adapt your product for the times. However, you have to try to respect visual cues from the past to not destroy your cumulative advantage, right? And that's basically the story with cumulative advantage. You want to try to respect it, man, because people love what's familiar. People love what they've already been doing for a long time. If people have been buying newsletters from me for like a year and a half, right? I want to maintain that. I want to maintain that. I want to maintain that like decision making process for people. I want people to continue to see me as a solid, great resource for awesome newsletters. However, I also want to be competitive in the marketplace. So I think that you have to find a balance between trying to respect who you are and what you do for people and also offering, fresh and improved stuff. It's the equivalent of, maybe you used to put your milk in aisle 3. Well, maybe you just moved it to aisle 4. Okay. You didn't move it too far. It's still pretty close to where it used to be. That's kind of the grocery store equivalent, okay? Anyways, listen, guys, that's all I got. If this has been valuable to you, thanks so much. Leave me a comment, drop me a like wherever you're watching this at or wherever you're listening to it on podcast. Be sure to get over to epicconversions.com. Check out my new freebie, Hungry Like the Wolf. All right, it's awesome, it's fresh, it's new. You're going to love it. And also, if you need a mentor, and you're on a budget, be sure to get over to ECIC group calls because we meet every single Thursday. You're going to love it. That's my club. Hope to see you in there. I'll see you in the next episode. This is Index Card Insights signing off. Peace, everybody.